And now you have Olaf being picked up by LAKAN Esports plus a Corki. Corki most likely going over to the Dragon Lane. They could pick up Seraphine, Lulu, Nami, even Brom if they want to. Now Final University has their hands on this Recon. Of course, will be utilized with either a Saya or a Ziggs.
Ooh. I think it's
We go to the mid
favorable
lane.
to go for the Ziggs instead because when you already locked in onto Rakan, onto Rakan, yes, and Lakan Esports went in for the Corki, it already states that Lakan is going for a Corki ADC more or less, so it gives more free ability for Final Adversity to now go for a Ziggs instead of for a Sai. So that is a clever move from them. Now Lakan Esports now forces out the Ari and the Riven for their last two picks.
So this is gonna be a Iris gonna go over to the mid lane. You have Baron lane for the review. Oh, but anyway, last pick for the side of an adversity is gonna be a Saya, and I was right. Ziggs will go over to the mid lane, and yes, it is gonna be a Gragas support. The shock on Infinity's face is very much seen right now as we complete the draft for the last series in game number one. But yes, it is a Gragas support. It makes sense. But the question
Yeah.
is, will Arjuk be able to do the initiates properly? Because if the barrel misses, he is gonna be met with a very punishing, problematic, and intense charm.
Yeah, and the reason why I was shocked is because we really don't have much information onto Agraga support. Maybe I've last seen it in the past few weeks, in the past few months, but not currently. So I think this is going to be new for Lakan Esports, but considering you have a Syra Khan as duo for Fennel Adversity, I think this is where Lakan Esports wants to go as a route to match up against this dominant duo.
Now you have the Dene just saying goodbye to that Ziggs. Shaw will be very comfortable in this early game champion. Upon adversity, if they'll be able to get the first 3 or 4 kills, I guess that's everything that Shaw will ever need. They will be able to burst down to it very quickly because of the satchel charge.
Yeah, it's just a clear wave. Lakan Esports, we've seen this through and through. You have the Baron laner going for the mid lane to be able to clear very, very quickly. For the mid lane to be able to try to get information, to try to be able to impact onto the jungle. But here into the bot lane, we have Rafi just going in for the aggression, and Ison will force out the flash. Better good trade for Fennel Adversity.
Yes, early game, we did not want to get the roots from Saya to connect. And the fact that Aizen is very vulnerable on this Corki, Corki is very, of course, slow and weak in the early parts of the match. You also do not have the explosive cast just yet. I would recommend the Dragon Lane duo for Lakan to just survive the early game. Be conservative. Don't let the lovebirds taunt you.
And this is the problem with a Graga support, right? You don't have sustainability. You don't have level 1 aggression, as typically a support does in the form of Braum, a Rakan, a Janna, right? So Gragas is a different case wherein I think as a support, he shines out mid game, late game. So I think this enables Danny and Rafi to now be able to go for the hyper aggression and not even risking too much up against a Gragas support and a Corki in this early phase.
Now Chinese just had a quick hi hello there, but Power will just be a-okay. He is sitting at the level 4, already used Ignite, Tonti already used his barrier. So at the very least, Barrier still have their flashes available.
Just a
Good
little bit of a
repost.
trade. Just the damage output coming in from those Baron laners, just traditional Baron lanes, just having a cat fight, right? But a difference maker here is Chinese
Sword
one.
fight.
Here into the Tribush. Might actually go for the response. Flash away from Tante. And that will be a great aggression from Power.
Yeah, Chinese was right there. He does have the smite and the flash, but I don't think he do not want to commit just yet. Also, the fact that he does not have the Ragnarok. Now that is CBS Sasha coming through, undertow.
But they don't want to fight. It's really risky for a level 5 Olaf to dive under the turret. Yes, he has a Ragnarok. But when it comes to that level, his base HP is not as huge and his defense is not as huge to tank out damage from the turret. So just going back away is much more clever than going for the hyper aggression.
And the hyper aggression they definitely should have. Well, maybe in the 4 or 5 minute mark, or when they get the infernal Drake, if that ever happens, or if that is gonna be the first Drake of the game. But so far, both teams are holding out just fine. The explosive minefield has been placed just to make sure that Dene will have no other choice but to stay in the mid lane. Ward has been placed a bit near into the Dragon's Pit, just so Shaw will know if someone is gonna say hello.
I was so much scared for Shaw's life. That charm was connecting, and you know Ari when it comes to the game with Foxfire and also that Orb
Yes.
of Deception, absolutely phenomenal when it comes to the damage output. So I think it was amazing for Shaw to be alive in that fight. However, I think it's just the Denner respecting the timers currently available into the game, because 12 seconds and you have Infernal Dragon and Rift Arrow that will come up, and those are so much valuable as an objective.
Huh. LAKAN Esports still not pulling the trigger anytime soon. Rip Herald, hey, my call was right. Infernal Drake is up. It will be the first dragon for the game. You have the very slight goal lead in favor of an adversity, and looks like FENNEL, they just want to get the Rip Herald. They want to play the good game, which leaves the Infernal Drake vulnerable for LAKAN. They could get it, and they could also try to steal the Rip Herald.
Though this is sort of on a fringe edge, if the Rift Herald is much more valuable, then go for the Rift Herald, because that's the Infernal Dragon that you're trading away, that 6% damage bonus, and now Lakan Esports has it, and when it comes to the late game, now they have much more. Although Fennel University tries to go for the Tapper's Blood, Rift Herald summons on top lane for its blood coming through. That's going to be Fennel University taking its dominance into the top lane. The Dene tries to go away, forcing out the ultimate. Now the Tapper's Blood as well goes for Fennel Adversity.
That is not a fight that Tante could have picked. That was a 2v3. And the fact that Power still had Grand Challenge. On top of that, you still have ways to disengage, and the Rip Herald is lurking and taking down your turret, which could leave you and your teammate vulnerable. So I really was not in favor of the broken wing or the stun that Tante tried.
Yeah, it was a difficult one. You're trying to contest the Rift Herald alongside with three members. Then you're going in the path of a Rift Herald, then you're gonna get knocked up. So I think that was just a bit of a bad positioning from LAKAN Esports. Even if you're trying to go for the defense, I respect it. I see the reason for it, because if you give the Tapper's Blood for University, they will have a bit of a goal to utilize later on. So I respect that, but I think it was just the positioning that changed everything. But now Fennel University, though, is now going for the pressure in tier 1 turret into the bot lane. Ari comes down into the fray. Ziggs will meet down onto one. Olaf will go for the 1v1. Ragnarok will now be forced flash away over the wall, tries to go in, but Shaw will have his teammates on his back, and Fennel University will be safe. In the mid lane is a different story. His power will also come into the fray.
Flashes have been burned, and the ultimate, the Ragnarok, is already down. Shaw only ever used the Sato charge, but he still has the Mega Inferno bomb. It was the right call for Chinese to just fall back, even that when
Foxfire,
adversity is coming back,
Charm.
but no. Disengage from Shaw.
It's a bit of a pick and play for Dedenne and also Sean to the mid lane, similar to what they did a while ago. They're just giving a little bit of damage, retreating back. It's like cat and dog fight, wherein you don't want to go all in because you don't know who's gonna win. But it looks like LAKAN Esports has its strong-sided map into the bot side, because they went for the four-man roam. But considering you also don't have any much more minions to utilize under the turret, they're going back, which is more clever to fight against Fennel Adversity.
Yeah, and the 1-4 setup is gonna work well for them because Tante will be able to farm and defend his lane. But the problem here though is Power already has the teleport, so he will have the map presence that Fan Adversity wants. He will be able to jump into team fights whenever he wishes. And on top of that, you still have the Mega Inferno bomb that can just scale and can just be thrown out everywhere, especially now that Shaw is stationed at the mid lane. Still waiting for Danny to go online, still has a flash and that heal. So for an adversity, they just want to take their time, wait for the items to jump in, and then maybe try to make something happen. The bomb did diminish the one bar for Chinese as well as our joke, and you still have. Look at the discipline from Power though. The minion wave is consistently being pushed into the side of Tante.
Hmm. It's just a push around playstyle from LAKAN Esports and FENNEL Adversity, as you stated. But Mountain Dragon will come up 20 seconds left. So I think that will be sort of an objective that both these teams want, especially FENNEL Adversity, considering we already have the Infernal Dragon for LAKAN Esports, which when you have the Mountain Dragon, at the very least, will equalize rather onto the damage of Lacan with the defensive capabilities of FENNEL Adversity.
I was honestly worried because I sent recall the moment the Mountain Drake spawned up. But now I guess for the adversity, they backed away, and now these are the two teams jumping in with the Dragon Dance. Charm is not gonna connect, but what will happen next?
The Mountain Dragon is now being taken up by Lakan Esports. You have Fiora into the sidelines, going for the 1v1 against Arjo. Grand Challenge will now be forced away. 1 HP. That's going to be reposed going in. That's dead for Gragas. Arjo will fall. It's now going to be the 5v4. FENNEL Adversity has the edge when it comes to the numbers game, the numbers battle. And the Mountain Dragon will go to the side of FENNEL Adversity. Very low HP for everyone in Lakan Esports, but FENNEL doesn't want to go and commit. The charm will connect though. Feather Storm will now be forced away to save Saya's life. Dedenne wants to go for the flash. That's gonna be the Foxfire. Root onto Dedenne once again. Still gonna be safe. No one will be harmed.
Actually, Danny got bursted down there, and the kill went over to the Dene. So the Flash and the Foxfire, all the resources that he used, it was so worth it. But looking back into that skirmish, it was a win to Fennel's side in the early part because Power was able to catch one champion. He just penetrated the back line. Now that is gonna be Olaf trying to chase him down, but no other minions. They have to clean this out first. Power jumping in with a recall, and Lakan, they could get turret, they could get Baron, but I believe they could just get the tower or maybe get a pick off.
Or the Baron Nashor. It's 3 seconds up. It is available. It's gonna be very risky though. So I think that's an option for them. However, I think it's not the most ideal option for them to take. And as you stated, the turret is going to be much more important because I think FENNEL Adversity having those 2 turrets is already so massive that the Khan Esports is now falling down behind. They need to be able to take down turrets to balance the map control against FENNEL Adversity. If they don't, FENNEL can and should just be dominating this game.
Will they though? That is gonna be the question now. That is gonna be Rafael being spotted out by the Dene. Masaya Nurkon is now up top at the Baron lane. Baron is up. I think what FENNEL Adversity wants to do here though, if is they get the kill, if they win the fight, they could just rotate over to Baron quickly. Blue team though, turret has been taken down.
Oh, explosive cast will disengage. FENNEL Adversity will be safe. The Ragnarok will be forced as well. But look here into the bot lane. It's Sean Power going for the aggression. Riven tries to go for the stun up. Repose will go for the block down. Tante will try to go for the advanced reach onto FENNEL Adversity. The Twin Shadows will slow him down though. The Power wants to go for this 1v1. Will he
Repose? Let's see if Dante will commit.
Wood. Grand Challenge is now going to be forced down. FENNEL Adversity tries to go in. Sinja will come in, go for the knock up down. Grand Challenge, one more hit. Sinja will go for the ultimate as well. With the damage, will bring down Tante into the mid lane. It's Rafi going for the quickness, going for the grand entrance. But will now cool down, will reset. Lakan Esports will not be able to defend, and FENNEL Adversity will take home a turret and a kill.
You know what? That was an overextend from Tante, but I cannot blame him. He knows Repose is already down, and Power, Fiora, is pretty much vulnerable. That's why the moment the stuns connect, Tante went all in. He did not have Ignite, and he had Barrier, but he forgot that Domeng is lurking into the sides, because of that, just became another gold, another kill that went up in FENNEL Adversity's board.
Yeah, right. Currently, Baron Nashor is still alive. As you've stated, it's just a trade that FENNEL Adversity has won against LAKAN Esports. But when I'm looking at the predictions here that will happen later on, with Cloud Dragon now coming up, I'm expecting FENNEL Adversity to force this out, bait LAKAN Esports to go for the contest. And with the ultimates up and running for pretty much everyone, I think LAKAN is going to go all in. Explosive cast onto the Dragon's Pit, disengage, and to try and gain that lead back with their 4K gold deficit.
See the 4K gold deficit, but I'll be coming in the initiate.
Oh, Mega Inferno Bomb will not connect though, but zones out the enemy team. Look up here into the sidelines with the flank. Fiora will try to get the kill, but Olaf will push through and kill Power instead. And this is what I'm saying. Fennel University will force out the Dragon. They're gonna bait out LAKAN Esports, but the thing here is counter engage for LAKAN was absolutely phenomenal. And now they get the numbers advantage. Now it's going to Gragas, going in for the body tap, go for the knockout, special delivery, goes in and has the engagement down. But Conte into the sidelines, went in for the flank. He was in a bad positioning, and Fennel Adversity's damage is gonna be there, and he will push through. Detonate the only one to arrive alongside with Shani's one. But Fennel made it back.
That was a very good initiate from Arjuk, but the problem was Fennel. The moment they knew that there was no explosive cast available, that was their go time. That was their green light to re-engage. And the moment they did, Shaw did not have the Mega Inferno Bomb just yet, but Domeng jumping in with the ultimate was just a huge problem. On top of that, Danny was well protected in the back line. Flashes has been committed, but at the very least, they were able to secure the kills.
Yeah. And that, I think, pushed up LAKAN Esports into a very, very bad deficit, because a while ago it was only just 4K. And now it's 5K alongside with a Mountain Dragon. So that gives you extra sustainability for Fennel Adversity to sustain themselves in this latter part of this game. But now it's going to be Power jumping over the wall. That's going to Mega Inferno Bomb. Ooh, the bomb dead in a half HP. And Fennel Adversity still pushing top lane.
That Mega Inferno Bomb just forces Detonate to jump back, or he is gonna meet his death, which is in favor of an Adversity. Now we have 4 and 6 on the scoreboard, 14 minutes in, a lot of advantages in an Adversity side. That is gonna be Chinese forced to pop Ragnarok. Fennel, they now know one important ultimate is down.
That was well worth it. Domin just jumped in onto Chinese as a dash, but Chinese already used the Ragnarok, so that, I think, was a very trade for Fennel Adversity. That was a common skill for the ultimate against LAKAN Esports, and look at that, it's gonna be quickness and Grand Entrance, no Ragnarok to save himself, and now he's gonna die. Mega Inferno Bomb, a lot of damage coming through. You have the flank coming in from the Fiora, but a Grand Challenge bringing down Gragas. It's now gonna be 5v3, and Fennel Adversity is going back for the Baron Nashor.
That was the problem, because the first champion to actually get taken down was the jungler. And right after that, Fennel Adversity, they knew they should force it. LAKAN Esports, they did try to fall back, but at the expense of their very own support's life.
Yeah, and Fennel Adversity just takes the Baron Nashor easy. There's no jungler available for LAKAN Esports. There's no disengager, Arjuk, and even if he was, there was no ultimate that he could utilize because he already used it up. So Fennel Adversity at that well-baited ultimates, well-killed plans for Fennel Adversity as they were thinking ahead of the curve against LAKAN Esports. And I think that was just that. Baiting out those ultimates are going to be very important, as we've stated in the series prior. Your ultimates into using it up at the very best moment, because if it is baited out and you don't have your ultimate in an all-in team fight, you're in a huge deficit in that 5v5.
And speaking of 5v5, looks like Fennel, they just want to group together. 3v3, let's see who will win. You also have Power split pushing at the Baron lane side. Now Fennel slowly but surely nearing the base of LAKAN Esports. If you're gonna see, there's a lot of burst items already available for the Dene, but they still need to wait for the opportunity. The cast already being used. Fennel is now storming the base that is with the Mega Inferno Bomb being chased out, but still, they still respect the possible comeback from LAKAN Esports. There is still a lot of CCs they need to survive.
Yeah, and Gragas used up his ultimate, which was suspicious on what do you want to do, because they just used one of their most valuable ultimates up against Fennel Adversity to just zone them out and clear out the siege minions. I don't know if that's going to be worth it, because now Fennel Adversity can just pressure in, as Fiora is doing right now, into the top lane, forcing out the flash once again. Now Fiora, though, gonna die in the hands of the Olaf, but in trade, that's 2 inhibitor turrets going to the side of Fennel Adversity.
I think that was worth it. Charm isn't the connect, but Rafa, will he say goodbye?
I don't think so. It's just too mobile for Rakan to die at that specific point. They have the Baron buff to be able to recall at quick seconds. So I think that was just easy for Fennel Adversity to go back away.
And looks like now Lakan, they want to get the Elder Dragon final. They still have the resource available. You have the bomb being thrown out.
Oh, yeah, Rafi going for the quickness, going for the grand entrance as well. Zoning out the enemy team, charms up the jungler for LAKAN Esports. But look at Corky, he's here onto the sideline. Yeah, LAKAN taking down the Ocean Elder Dragon. And this might be it. This might be the key to comeback here for LAKAN Esports. But the problem is, they lost 2 members and trade of 1. And FENNEL Adversity still has Ziggs in their composition that can bring down the inhibitor turret that remains into the mid lane. And it opens up the base all open against LAKAN Esports.
And FENNEL, they're still forcing this. They know that if they keep up the pressure, LAKAN Esports' Nexus will fall down in the very least. You have very good wave clear from the side of LAKAN. You have the barrels, you also have the orb, but a lot of minions jumping in from the barrel lane side. Power is still there, the bomb connecting.
What body Sam onto the Fiora actually puts himself down as Corky went in for the follow through, but Dragons is actually being melted, and quickness and grand entrance charms everyone up. LAKAN Esports are losing everyone down against FENNEL Adversity. It's now going to be 3v4 as now everyone comes alive. That's going to be a flash away for Ziggs to come up on top into a safety play. It's FENNEL, clever move into forcing away a retreat because Baron Nashor now alive, but LAKAN wants to go for more bloodshed and he goes into the flank as Ravi actually seems is down. Is he going for it?
Chinese one is there too. He's gonna start the Baron. They don't care. Taunting there decides to. Now you have power with the GA. Teleports are gonna come in. This could possibly be the opening that LAKAN Esports need.
Yeah, they need this. They want this. The charm though will connect onto Rafi. Goes for the grand entrance. Tries to go for the knockup. But Olaf is on the Ragnarok. Gets the Baron Nashor. And now they're just happy with it. They have 4 members, 3 members with a Baron buff. But the minions still will be in favor for FENNEL Adversity. But in hope to delay the fight, LAKAN Esports has the Elder Dragon and the Baron buff. Sinjao actually tries to go for the retreat, forcing out the ultimate. Detonate actually tries to go for the damage output. But Daming will still be alive at 1 HP.
That was actually a very good cast from Arjuk. It just so happened that the angle was not quite there. Also, the orb did not reach did not reach Domeng rather. Also, the teleport boot stat power picked up. It's a huge problem. LAKAN Esports, they need to constantly look at their base this time around. On top of that, Furia already has the GA. So if ever power will survey his way in and he gets taken down, you will have another Furia just poking right at your face, which means Tante, he needs to really land the stunts. Maybe commit a whole set of combos to power. But problem is, Tante is level 14. Power's already level 15. So the gap on their levels as well as their itemizations is already being seen.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's just stark difference between a Gragas support and a Rakan support or maybe other sports, right? And even Tante with a power as well. Because I think Tante was always consistently going into the ROMs, into other parts of the map to try and help up his team. But now it's going to be a different story as just the level disadvantage is affecting so much. But however, LAKAN Esports do still take note. They have the Ocean Elder Dragon, they have the Infernal Dragon, and they still have the Baron buff that they're currently trying to push into the mid lane.
And speaking of pushing, LAKAN Esports is just pushing here at the mid lane. Isen will be able to take the mid lane turret down. Now you have Chinese alone in the dragon lane side, 2v1, who will win, maybe even 3v1. But Chinese will be able to jump away. Power is alone at the brown lane side. This is the opening for LAKAN Esports. Problem is they have to make sure that no one will die if ever they want to commit with that pickoff.
Yeah, it's just impossible to kill Chinese when he has his ultimate up, and also the Baron buff. It's just impossible. And FENNEL Adversity just went in for 2 members. So I think they were just going for the lane clear so that it doesn't come up onto the inhibitor because the FENNEL Adversity's advantage is now diminishing as time goes by. Only 2k gold difference right now for LAKAN Esports and FENNEL Adversity. And so the inhibitor turrets is everything that they're depending on. If that is lost to LAKAN Esports, this might be looking for a huge comeback for LAKAN in this game 1.
It's still possible. They just need one Okay, they just need to get that one ace. But how can they do that with a shot having so much damage? Well, I guess that's also the good part. If you know there's no longer Mega Inferno Bomb, you could try and commit. Problem is, another problem they need to face is this power. This PR is just constantly pushing the minion waves in. So you have to commit Tante to wherever power is, which just leaves the fight in a full-on 4v4. You do not have the main source of stuns in your lineup.
With Baron Nashor, though, coming up at 5 seconds, this might be the end gaming objective. Whoever gets the Baron buff and actually have that minions
That's
or buffs
available.
active for your team might be able to end the game, especially when you're looking at power. Split pushing consistently, getting that lane control in favor for FENNEL adversity, so you don't see LAKAN esports having a wave pushing further than the mid part of each and every lane.
Oh,
FENNEL
no.
adversity is just doing that into the top lane, forcing out the Ragnarok onto the Olaf, and now they could start onto the Baron buff because Olaf doesn't have his ultimate up. They could just CC chain on this champion.
Yes, they can indeed. But he does have GA at the very least, at least maybe the Undertow being thrown out. Chinese still wants to hold his ground. Now you have Arjuk and Aizen in the sides as well. With that in mind, Fun Adversity will not
Wow.
push through with the Baron. Nice misdirection, but charms.
Quickness, Grand Entrance actually charms out LAKAN esports, but the damage is no longer there. Where's the damage coming from? FENNEL adversity is lacking towards that aspect and category of this game. And look at that, Sinjao gonna force out onto the Sterox gauge, and he's dead. He's dead. Now, FENNEL adversity is now locking onto the jungle for this game, and even if Ari
No
dies,
Spirit Rush.
LAKAN esports has the advantage of getting the jungle and getting that Baron buff to finish this game. And that is a huge disadvantage that FENNEL adversity has now brought down. The TPs are now coming up. That's the Mega Inferno Bomb, giving the information to FENNEL adversity as LAKAN esports will get the Baron Nashor in their favor. And this might be over, but the TPs are now coming through. This might be the back door. Revive, the GA gonna be popped here by Fiora, and this is gonna be the game end as FENNEL adversity juked out LAKAN esports.